Okay, hi everyone. Just gonna wait another 1 minute. Okay, great. So tonight we're going to dive into dyads, and I'm gonna play the instructional video first before I talk at all. I'm just gonna that has all the basic information for those who haven't experienced this before. I don't think there's too many people who haven't done dyads here, so we'll see how it goes, and we'll do one 40-minute dyad, then we'll do another check-in, and I'll just make sure everybody's clear on the technique. And facilitators who are here, it looks like everybody's put a little asterisk in front of their name of their facilitator, so Tayama can find you. If you haven't done that, you can do that right now, and she will find you. And yeah, so I will cue that up here in 1 second.
Tell me who you are.
Tell me who you are.
Tell me who you are. Self-inquiry dyads are one of the most expedient ways to bring about Kensho, or awakening to your true nature, especially when done in a retreat, which creates conditions of no escape for the egoic mind. Doing self-inquiry dyads via Zoom works really well. I'm going to run through the process and address some of the unique considerations of doing dyads via Zoom so that you have the optimal experience. First, make sure that your camera is set up so that you can look directly into your partner's eyes. When you're in the dyad, it's best that you're paying attention to your partner, looking at their image, not staring at the camera. Please make sure that you are unmuted when you start the dyads, and that your camera is turned on. The meeting automatically begins in speaker view, and because of this, you can see your own video when you're speaking, but you don't want to see yourself when you're speaking. You want to see your partner. So hover over your video and click the ellipses button in your video to display the menu. Then choose Hide Self View. You will no longer see the video of yourself, even though others in the meeting can see the video of you. If you have technical problems or problems with the technique, there's a button to contact the facilitator. Click here to ask the host for help. Outside of the actual dyad process, please do not chat with your partner. If you chat or engage in conversation, you are activating the conditioned mind, and you will lose progress. Once you have entered a breakout room, decide who will give the imperative first.
So what would you like to do first? Would you like to report or be the witness?
If you ask me, I rather would like to be the witness.
The one who gives the imperative will be the witness, and the other partner will do the inquiry.
You'll be the witness? Okay.
Yeah.
So you give me the imperative.
Before giving the imperative, feel your intention to want to know who this being is in front of you. When you say, "Tell me who you are," make it sincere. You really want to know who this being is.
Tell me who you are.
The witness looks directly into the eyes of the inquirer and says, "Tell me who you are." The witness does not nod, make facial responses, or make any sound while witnessing. Do not change the imperative. The imperative is, "Tell me who you are." It is not, "Who are you?" And it is not, "Can you tell me who you are?" If you ask, "Who are you?" or "Can you tell me who you are?" these are questions. The imperative, "Tell me who you are," is not a question, but a command. It is an imperative to authentically communicate as your true self. Understand that this is not a question. Therefore, we're not looking for an answer on the level of the conditioned mind. Tell me who you are is a command. Tell me, convey to me who you are.
Tell me who you are.
The person inquiring intends to directly experience their true nature. Directly means not via the mind. When you receive the imperative, get a sense of I amness, of present awareness, or beingness, that which has always been present, even when you were a little kid. Intend to directly experience who you are. Another way of saying this is, be still and know. Be still and get a sense of that primordial consciousness that is ever present. Depending on the number of participants, sometimes there will be 3 people in the breakout rooms. So instead of a dyad, it will be a triad. In this case, 2 people will be witnesses, while 1 person does the inquiry. Instead of saying, "Tell me who you are," the imperative will be, "Tell us who you are." When you receive the imperative, you can take a moment. If you want to close your eyes and go inward, that's fine. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Once you have inquired directly, then observe anything that comes up within the self-structure as a result of that inquiry. Just remain open to anything that wants to come up to the surface, and share it as fully as you can with your partner. Whatever comes up as a result of the inquiry,
there's a sense of grace. That's hanging out with tension.
it may be words or sounds, emotions, laughs, cries, memories, feelings.
So the first thing that's noticed that arising is it's like a cloud of what the mind would call intense sensations.
It's important to be free and not censor or suppress any thoughts, beliefs, emotions, or phenomena. So when I received that, I felt a movement of energy, strong sensations in the forehead, in the third eye area. It felt like I was becoming more awake, more present in the room.
Who am I in this experience? I don't know. Just the words are coming, I don't know. Just being here. Just noticing.
Your inquiry will generally be around 5 to 6 minutes. Sometimes it's less, sometimes longer. Don't worry about the length of time. But at the same time, try not to take up all the time. 40 minutes is too long. And don't try to get off the hook too quickly. 1 or 2 minutes is too short. It's important that the witness remains totally neutral. No facial expressions. No positive or negative feedback. This lack of feedback allows the person doing the inquiry to be totally free. There's a sense that they're being heard, they're being listened to, but not judged in any way. There is neither encouragement, nor is there a reaction or contraction to anything being said. The witness should try their best to understand their partner. If what is being said is not clear, the one thing the witness can say is, "Can you clarify that, please?" Can you clarify that, please? Be especially conscious of words like I, me, my, mine, or myself. Don't use these words unconsciously. Find out, who do these words point to? We often use these words to reinforce identification with the false self, with the character. The facilitators will enter your room with their camera off. Simply respond to their prompts, maintaining eye contact with your partner. What's happening in the mind right now? Is the mind trying to do something?
There's so many emotions, like the ego mind is wanting to be inserted, like I'm here, look at me. Really active, like really wanting to take the front seat. So there's a struggle.
When you feel that your share is complete, then you can say thank you and give a little namaste with your hands.
Thank you.
If at any point during the inquiry you feel that you are stuck, you can ask yourself, what is the most real thing that is observable in this moment? How is this exercise making me feel? Is there something being held back that wants to be expressed? Most importantly, have fun with it. Be childlike, spontaneous, and free with your sharing. As you are more and more able to convey who you are, you may let go of the burden of trying to do it right, the burden of knowing, just letting the mind be a don't know mind or a beginner's mind. Okay. So a few things I'm going to mention. So when I go into dyads in Zoom, it mentioned we want to hide self-view. There's two things I find make it work perfectly. We hide self-view, and you can also pin your partner. So if you have a facilitator in the room, the way Zoom works is whoever is speaking, it highlights that person. So if it's a facilitator, it'll just highlight their icon. So it's nice if you pin your partner, they'll always just stay there so you can maintain eye contact with them. And the other thing is we want to take note of our room number as well when we go in there. So yeah, so I'm going to talk just a little bit. I'm not going to say too much. The main instructions have been given in the video. But if there's any need for clarification, if the technique is not clear, we will have a little opportunity here to ask questions as well. So, I think the first thing I'm just going to say is, the question that comes up, I find it kind of funny, but what comes up quite often is this question, why are we doing this? What is the purpose of this self-inquiry? It's like, something has drawn us here, but the mind doesn't quite know what this is. And, so I just want to affirm or convey what this is. So the awakening or Kensho is, the benefit of it is we wake up from the dream of this limited character. And all suffering in life is within this character. It's like when you wake up and the consciousness that we are wakes up, you realize who was suffering, in life. It's that character with its preferences and its beliefs and its knowing. That character is just resistance to what is. It has its own, what makes the character unique is all these different patterns of resistance, these different preferences and beliefs and identity signatures that we identify ourselves by. But when we really go into it, when we start to investigate who we are, as Ramana Maharshi said, when you inquire, turn attention to the self, at first what you see is the false I and the false self. So there's this sort of clearing process that happens when we have this intention to directly experience the truth of who we are. This intention somehow, it's mysterious how this works. But there's everything that is hidden in the unconscious starts to come to the surface. All the hidden patterns. So when your partner says, "Tell me who you are," it initiates this clearing process, and all of these samskaras or incomplete experiences that we've had in our life, they've been pushed into the unconscious for various reasons. For whatever reason, there were these life experiences, and we couldn't fully experience them in the moment. That maybe the charge was too much, or it was not comfortable. So there was a split. There's a part of that energy couldn't just move through, and it went into the unconscious mind, where it lives as this little program. So this is an opportunity to free that energy by communicating it completely. And the beauty of this technique, what Charles Berner discovered, is that through complete communication, being witnessed completely, these samskaras can be cleared and released. So it's very important that you maintain this witness position for your partner, that you don't respond in any way, positively or negatively. So you're just like a mirror, and you want to just allow the person, you want to understand exactly what they're saying, so you understand, and there's a complete communication. So if you don't understand, you can say, "Can you clarify that, please?" But other than that, we don't say anything. Even if someone is going through deep emotion, there could be very deep releases, emotions, tears, whatever's happening, or there could be laughter, joy, anything can happen in this process. So we don't react, and the most loving thing we can do for someone is to just hold space and not react. The moment we start evaluating what is coming up for another person and reacting, or maybe we're very empathic. We want to try and if we're in the psychology world, or we're like a trauma counselor or something like that, we'll go into that mode and try and help them in some way. But this is something very different. All of these samskaras, if they're not evaluated or reacted to, it's like a wave that comes up. If it's fully experienced, then it just passes away over time, and there's a great unburdening in this process. So we want to allow that to happen for each other, just holding space. Another thing I'll be talking about at this retreat is this glimpse that we can get sometimes in dyads of who we are. Once we know, once that mind has sort of dropped and we're not seeking, then what this becomes is a process of stabilizing in awareness, or stabilizing in the open state. So for those that there are people here who have had awakenings, who they're not seeking anymore. So if you're not looking for who you are, you can still intend to directly experience your true nature, and then just allow an expression. You can speak from the truth of who you are. You can convey, just let that energy and aliveness come through. And the more we do this, the more embodied that realization becomes. The more free we become in this human avatar, and life becomes more of an expression of who we are. So we're not looking for intellectual answers, although the mind may come up with intellectual answers. It may, when our partner says, "Tell me who you are," the mind might come up with something that it read, a beautiful teaching or pointer or something like that, and that's fine. We don't want to push away our thoughts. We're not judging thoughts as something bad. Not judging the ego as something bad. We just allow it. We invite it, actually. And so whatever comes up as a result of that direct inquiry, we share it fully. Whatever, crazy, it can be crazy thoughts coming up in the mind, could just be a thought of, something from childhood or a memory or whatever it is. So we just want to be free with it, not getting caught in it, identifying with it, although that may happen as well, which is not a problem if it happens. But the intention is to use the mind as a reporting tool in this process, just reporting on what's coming up, and really, as the video said, really questioning when we use the word I. If I say, when I was a kid, I had this thought or this thing coming up for me, that I have this memory. Who is that I? What does that refer to? Or if I say, I'm feeling tired, I'm exhausted. who is that I? You know, is that truly who I am? You know, is there an awareness here that is aware of that tiredness? You know, is it the character, the body mind that is tired? You know, am I tired? Who am I? You know, and really go into it. Really start to explore how we use these words, because these words really do reinforce the false self. So yeah, and the only other thing I'll say is when so when we receive the imperative, you know, the exact technique is we want to intend to directly experience who we are. You know, so we take time to really intend to directly experience. So that can be like a little meditation, or we can close our eyes. However you want to do it, there's no right or wrong. And once we've been through that exercise, then we just see what has moved in the mind body. You know, what has come up as a result of that direct inquiry. And we share it fully with our partner. And so when we share it, you know, if we've gone kind of inward, we want to reconnect with our partner's eyes at that point. We want to be really connected and really get it across, you know, what has come up as a result of that inquiry, and share it fully. You know, just be uncensored. There's no right or wrong in this. And everything that comes up in the dyad stays in the dyad. So this is like a sacred space. So nothing is ever recorded or repeated. Yeah, so this is your opportunity to just be yourself, to be free to express whatever needs to come up in this process. And you know, the way it works is it's just a clearing process, you know, so whatever's going to come, we never know. Just let it come, and whatever goes, we let it go, and find out who remains. You know, after all that phenomena is looked at, you know, who is here, who is aware, and intend to directly experience that one. So I think if anybody has any questions about the technique, if there's anything that's not clear, you can just raise your hand. And otherwise, we will just dive in. And I'm not seeing any hands.
Can I make one mention?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so when you go into your room at first, have a little bit of patience. So because sometimes it takes a little bit for people to join. So if there's nobody in there, just wait a few moments before coming back out to say nobody's in there.
Mm-hmm.
That would be good.
Yes. Good one. And Kevin has a question.
Yeah, in your instructions, you say most importantly, have fun.
Mm-hmm.
This all seems so serious. Can you say another word about that?
Yeah. So there, as we go into this, there's you know, there's a sort of cosmic joke that becomes apparent in all of this. So, you know, if like the mind, to the conditioned mind, this seems like a serious endeavor. You know, it's like, I have to find out who I am, the truth, you know, my true nature. But, you know, when we, you know, this imperative, you know, tell me who you are, when the mind hears it, it's exactly like a Zen koan. A Zen koan is designed to stop the mind in its tracks. So to the serious mind, it's like, I want to figure it out, I want to do it. But the more you work on a koan, the more energy you put into it, the more the mind will fail to do it. The mind has to fail. The mind has to give up, and it's in that giving up, that surrendered mind, which I call a beginner's mind, or sometimes it can be like a very childlike mind. It's a not knowing mind. If you think about, if you know a little kid that's really free, and you ask a little kid, tell me who you are, and you do it really seriously. They're not serious about it. They're just like, oh, I'm just me. They're free. There's a freedom in it. So we're not looking for an answer, that will satisfy that intellect or that conditioned mind, but we're moving in the direction of this freedom, so that we become who we are. We become free, it's more of just a way of being. So to convey to somebody who you are, you're expressing, you're allowing life to come through. It's not an answer on the level of mind. So there's a freedom in that. There's a joy in that as we become, as this clearing process proceeds, we just become more free in it. So I would say, just go in the direction of that feeling of freedom. Rachel. You're still muted there.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Could you just remind me or us what we would do if we're having difficulty responding to the question? I know one of the things was to talk about something that directly is relating to you in the moment, but I believe there were three things, and I didn't catch the other two. They went by pretty quickly for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you intend to directly experience your true nature, to find out who you are, and one of two things will happen. Either you will experience who you are, or something will move in the mind and body as a result of that inquiry. And sometimes it can be very subtle. So you don't have to do anything. You just do the inquiry. You intend to directly experience who you are, and then you just observe, like what's coming up. So you don't have to figure anything out. You're just reporting. So maybe there's a thought in the mind. Maybe an image of your mother comes up, or maybe there's an anxiety. It's like, I feel like I'm doing this wrong. That's what you share, if that's what's coming up. Or maybe there's a feeling like, this is crazy. What am I doing here? Or whatever comes up in the mind. So there's no limit. Sometimes the mind can be very quiet, and that's when we attune to very subtle things that may be running in the mind. So we want to not miss anything, no matter how subtle it may be. So, for example, we might be, sitting with an expectation. When I do the inquiry, it's like the mind is expecting or hoping for something to happen that's not happening, and maybe there's a little frustration there. So we can start to explore this whole field of thoughts and sensations as it's happening moment by moment. And it's actually really, really easy, because there's nothing to do. You're just reporting. So usually we're so up close with the mind that it feels like it's us. But this is a way to just sort of witness your own mind body and start to really just see how is it reacting? What is it coming up with? And you just report it. And that's it.
I've just found in the past my mind is very active, but then I'm dyading and it just goes blank.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got nothing to report, and it's so frustrating. So, but I mean, just reporting that I don't have anything to report is a report, but just doing that all the time feels like, okay, I got to come up with something.
Mm-hmm. Well, that frustration, is something, that like explore that, what is that frustration? How does it feel in the body? Where does it live in the body, that frustration? Maybe there's a contraction in the breath with that frustration. Maybe there's a tightness in the belly, or it could be whatever. There's a whole mind-body pattern that's playing out there. The sense of it's the mind is not satisfied, or it feels something is not the way it should be. So you can start to really explore that and just like once you start pulling those threads, it's amazing what will start to come up in the mind. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Louis.
Hi, Dan. Just a quick question. I've been doing some diets with global meditation, and there's a they have this sort of rule. I just want to clarify, which is, or something to be aware of, is not to report something that's too sensitive. Like if I have let's say a thought about someone, like my partner, or like something that could trigger them, or like it could be like, or something like a sexual thought or something. Can you clarify a bit on that, please? Thanks.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we don't ever refer to our partner in the dyad. So we don't refer to them as a person. So we don't comment on them, or we don't say things like I'm seeing how beautiful you are, or that type of thing. It's like we imagine we have a mirror in front of us, and we don't say you, or report on our partner's previous dyad. Sometimes a partner can say something very moving or profound. So, the tendency can be to sometimes almost go into a comment about a previous dyad, or a conversation starts to happen, between dyads, and we don't want to do that. So yeah, that's a good point. We want to keep it kind of, neutral in terms of what is coming up in terms of the charge for the other person. We don't want to just engage on that level. We could describe the sensations and describe the phenomena without making it personal for the other person. Yeah. Okay, so I think we can dive in.
Okay, here we go, everybody. I am ready.